Hey there, and thank you so much for being with us on this Friday, September 26th, as we head into the first weekend of fall. I'm meteorologist Ashley Ruiz, and thank you so much for joining us for Weather Out West. This is our hour-long show where we tell you what's expected to happen weather-wise across the western United States. And you're going to find forecasts from our team of meteorologists in Colorado, Idaho, Washington, Oregon, California, and the desert Southwest. Well, we are going to kick today's show off in Arizona, where monsoon thunderstorms are expected today, and these thunderstorms could produce strong wind gusts, hail, heavy rain, and flash flooding. Our team in Phoenix issued a weather impact alert today ahead of these storms. Here's Ginger Jeffries with everything you need to know.
I'm meteorologist Ginger Jeffries with a look at your weather out west, where, wow, we've got tropical moisture moving in today. Quite a bit of impact going on here in Arizona. Not only are we prepping for potentially some flooding conditions, but also because of the moisture and the cloud cover moving on through, which also means we're talking about some wind, our temperatures are coming down dramatically. So not only are we going to get into a more fall-like feel outside, but we've got some true rainfall, which could be leading to quite a few problems later today. Let's first talk temps. I mean, look at these numbers. Daytime highs coming way down. Some of our valley cities will be in the upper 80s. I've got low 90s for Phoenix as well. 66 today in Flagstaff, 77 in Sedona. We aren't seeing as much of an impact on the western side of the state, at least around Yuma, Quartzsite, and Parker, by way of tropical storm activity. So it doesn't look like the thunderstorms are really going to touch down, but temperatures obviously going to be coming down. Now, the main impact as far as the rain goes, it's basically cutting the state into 2/3. So 1/3 of the state not seeing as much action, the other 2/3 into the rim, high country, through the White Mountains and down into southeast Arizona, including the valley here. We are looking for some substantial storms. A monsoon meter, 6s and 8s. First time we have seen 8s this season, which, expires at the end of this month. So what does a 6 and a 7 mean? Basically a 70% chance. So 70% of the region will be dealing with severe storms. That means prepare for large hail, winds that could be topping, about 50 to 55 miles an hour. Dust storm potential, of course, today due to the outflow from these storms and because of the heavy rainfall expected. And remember, this isn't the kind of rain that lasts all day. It's fast and furious. We have these sudden downpours of action, which means we could be seeing some flooding. So take a look. National Weather Service expanding the flash flood watch for today to include the Phoenix metro area. So from today through Saturday night for areas southeast of Arizona, we've got some strong storm potential. So because of that, again, the strong wind, small hail, and flash flood concerns. Let me track it for you. Futurecast shows we've got some hit and miss activity basically around us right now. This is really going to beef up. So it's pretty much all day potential, just not all day rainfall. And I think the best timing will be between about 10 to, let's say, 6 o'clock tonight. So what are the rainfall totals looking like? Look at the blues, purples, and reds. That means we're seeing up to possibly 2 to 3 inches of rain. As we zero in on the metro, you can see what I'm looking for. Cave Creek, over 2 inches of rain. The metro, I'm looking for right about a half an inch of rain, maybe up to an inch and a half at Apache Junction and Kearney. Again, this is higher elevation, going for about 3 inches of rain. I mentioned there's a wind component with it. As this moisture really ramps up, we'll start to see the winds pick up. We do not have a high wind advisory because it just doesn't meet the duration, but the velocity definitely going to be up. I'm looking for winds at about 30, possibly 35 miles an hour. And then as you can see, the wind subsides after about 8-10 o'clock this evening and really relaxing overnight. So today in Phoenix, we've got showers and thunderstorms. Daytime highs really coming down. You can see the timing of it. We actually cool down after the sun comes up simply because of the storm potential. We'll get some off and on, clouds and clearing storms and then a little bit of wind with the heaviest action expected in the higher elevations through about Saturday into Sunday. For the metro, it looks like this. Again, 10 to 6 rain today, but staying below the normal range through the weekend.
And some of that monsoon moisture is expected to move into Colorado over the weekend. Denver's Kathy Sabin and Katie LaSalle tell us how this could impact the weekend forecast. Plus, we'll get an update on the beautiful Colorado fall foliage.
Hello from Denver, Colorado. I'm 9 News Weather Impact Team Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sabin, and we are enjoying some of fall's finest. We started the week with cold, rain, mountain snow, and we were fearful that the wind with that approaching storm would take down some of the leaves off some of the changing trees in the high country, but viewer pictures are showing us otherwise. This may be the peak weekend for leaf peeping in the high country, as high pressure is going to hang on for most of the weekend and then shift late Sunday, and that could mean another round of wind and snow. This dominant ridge of high pressure has allowed us to warm into the 70s for the second half of the week. Could see 80s Friday and Saturday. We're in between two troughs of low pressure, but Sunday into Monday, the ridge shifts and allows for that trough in the west to move in, and that could actually bring an increase in cloud cover and some beneficial moisture to at least the southern mountains. This system spinning near the Bay Area, producing some welcome rain in San Francisco and Salt Lake City. We've also got showers through the Gulf Coast region, the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. The greatest impact for travel will be at these major hubs that we're seeing here around Boston, Washington, and New York. We're in between these storms, as I mentioned, for about 72 hours. Then a little area of disturbed weather comes in on the southwest flow, and that means the chance for rain and snow showers in the central and southern mountains, probably Sunday into Monday. For Denver, we are dry for today and tomorrow with just a high, thin cloud deck coming in. Southwest winds will bring in maybe a few showers around Durango, Telluride, and Montrose, but only isolated showers expected as we move through the next 24 hours, so not a big impact for travel. We'll start in Denver in the 40s, warm today to the lower 80s, the kickoff of a warming and drying trend that should continue through the weekend into early next week. We do have the Broncos taking on the Bengals Monday night. I have clear skies, light winds, and a kickoff temperature of about 72 degrees at 6:15 when the guys take the field.
I'm 9 News Weather Impact Team's Katie LaSalle. It is such a special time of the year here in colorful Colorado, and we want to talk about what's happening up in Colorado's high country, especially as a lot of people are heading there this weekend. Still some snow-capped mountain peaks from Long's Peak from our Tuesday. Very powerful, widespread rain and snow event that we saw, but yesterday, picture sent in by Greg, dog hiking, aspens popping. It is beautiful and golden, and this was sent to us by Wendy in Crested Butte, where we are really starting to see the leaves peak from north to south. So our fall leaves update, the storm on Tuesday didn't really impact things too much. If you are heading out there this weekend, especially above 11,000 feet, the leaves are peaking. So it's great leaf peeping season, as we like to say here. If you are heading out, windbreaker, rain jacket, hiking shoes, anything with traction, you definitely want to stay hydrated. Sunglasses, sunscreen, you know the drill. If you're hitting the trails, be aware that there will be a lot of people out and about and plenty of traffic. But in terms of the weather department, we are going to stay dry over the I-70 drive to and from our northern and central mountains, but scattered thunderstorms and showers will be in the forecast late on Sunday. As we've seen here across Colorado, leaves peaking from north to south into our Rocky Mountains, we do have a change in the weather department. A ridge of high pressure rolling off to our east will introduce a cutoff low, a last little push of some of that monsoon moisture from the southwest. It'll switch things up. We have the possibility for a few scattered showers over our San Juan mountain range down near Telluride to round out the week. And the final weekend of September, Saturday looking mainly clear, could see an isolated storm or shower over the western slope, but it'll be into Sunday afternoon and evening. That's our best chance for picking up some wet weather. So if you are driving to and from Colorado's high country, nothing major, no severe weather risks, and some brief to moderate shower and storm activity will be possible. That'll mainly be on Sunday, but any little bit of precipitation, we will welcome it. We always love it. Drought conditions continue to be severe to extreme over the western slope, but we do expect to be out of drought officially with that last Tuesday system as we get into next week.
Coming up next on Weather Out West, we're taking you to California, where Monica Woods and Vanessa Paz get you ready for the first weekend of autumn, and much needed rain is headed to the northwest. Welcome back. While there is a red flag warning in effect for northern Sacramento Valley, it's overall going to be a pleasant weekend in Sacramento. 90s and 80s today, 80s on Saturday, and 70s on Sunday. But they are going to be turning wet next week. Monica Woods has all of those details in today's forecast.
I'm meteorologist Monica Woods, wrapping up a very active week for us here for the first couple of days of fall, heading into northern and central California this weekend. More active weather to track. Dry and mild for the coast, at least through the first weekend of fall. North winds develop for the valley, and that is going to elevate that fire danger slightly. Feeling fall through the foothills. We've got Apple Hill alive and well. All things kind of with pumpkins and apples and everything that you can have your taste for fall there in the foothills. For the Sierra, we've got the afternoon thunderstorms still a part of the forecast. It's not going to be terribly widespread, so we'll really see some focus areas over Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of more active weather in the Sierra. All right, first let's talk about that fire potential. And as you can see, it's really a stretch right through the valley, more so towards the north end of the valley, roughly from about Redding to Chico, that we're going to see a brief period of north winds develop. They are dry, warming winds, gusting at times to about 30 miles per hour. So we'll have red flag warning conditions there in parts of the valley. If you're headed to the foothills and even higher up into the Sierra, this is what it looks like right now. So we are seeing some peaks of fall color out there. This is Sage Hen Summit. That's along 395. Just beautiful there throughout the central Sierra. In terms of our average peak fall color, you can see we're just kind of on the beginning and leading edge of some of that fall color. It will migrate its way about 500 to 1,000 feet week by week as we head into the valley. It's not until late October that we start to see some of that peak fall color. So we have a ways to go there. As far as our severe weather, again, central Sierra will be under the focus area for our Friday. That does expand its way northward into our Saturday and a bit on Sunday as well. But if you're headed to Apple Hill, we're looking at dry conditions, 85 on Saturday with sunny skies, 73 on Sunday with a mix of sun and clouds. And that's just kind of an indicator with those cooler temperatures. We've got bigger changes in store. Low pressure system will begin to move its way off to the east. It's kind of stuck, though, in the Great Basin, and that will bring us the opportunity of thunderstorms continuing into our Saturday and then again Sunday forecast as that kind of rolls around and moves through the Great Basin and then finally off to the east. That then will give way to this particular weather system that will be brewing in the Pacific and giving us our first big chance of rain in northern and central California. Some of us are looking at over 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch of rain. Some parts of the northern end of the valley, over an inch of rain expected over about a 48-hour to almost a 72-hour period. So a lot to watch heading into next week. In the meantime, as we're heading into our Friday forecast, highs are going to be in the 70s for the Sierra with 80s and 90s down the hill. Keep in mind with those north winds, that does tend to elevate those temperatures ever so slightly. The biggest risk of fires, though, will continue to be in the north end of the valley. Heading into the central Sierra, again, we're looking at the potential for those thunderstorms popping up. Highs are going to be in the 70s, 80s and 90s as we head into the valley forecast. Along the central coast, our highs are in the 60s and 70s with 90s inland. A little bit north of that, highs are going to be in the 60s along the coast to right around 75 degrees. Inland areas warmer in the 90s. Along the northwest coast, we're going to see those highs in the 60s. Inland areas approaching 100 once again, and that's where we're going to see that higher fire danger. The capital region, highs are in the 90s for our Friday forecast. We're getting a little close to 100 here for Colusa, 98 for our Friday. And then we'll look at overnight lows dropping into the 50s to right around 60. So a real pretty start to our Saturday forecast. Moving on to our extended outlook. Again, we're dry for the valley straight through the first weekend of fall. But you see the cooler conditions starting to arrive on Sunday. Even bigger cooling next week with the opportunity of rain. And we're talking measurable rain for early next week. Drier by the end of the week. But again, kind of fun to watch. The first big fall event of the year.
Meanwhile, in Southern California, shower chances return over the weekend, but mainly in the valleys and mountains. San Diego's Vanessa Paz has today's forecast. Well, happy Friday from San Diego, California. I am CBS 8 meteorologist Vanessa Paz. I thought it was fitting to put this as a background. Today starts the Miramar Air Show that a lot of people look forward to. A lot of people even visit in to San Diego to attend this event. It's a weekend-long event. All right, shout out to Don Viaduct. He caught this image of them getting their practice run in yesterday. As we take a look at weather headlines, kicking off the end of the work week into the weekend, we will have a cooling trend continuing all the way through Saturday, Sunday, potentially into early next week, but we do have the chance for some valley showers as well as mountain thunderstorms. And then looking ahead to next week, we'll have some gradual warming. I'm going to emphasize gradual because we're not looking at extreme heat by any means. If anything, temperatures will rise a few degrees above normal. Speaking of the temperatures in comparison to where we should be for this time of year, daytime highs for downtown San Diego where it is recorded at the San Diego International Airport. It looks like typically we should be in the high 70s for the coastline, but we'll be about 4 degrees shy of that 30-year normal. Ramona, meanwhile, this afternoon will hit highs in the mid 70s, and that puts us about 10 degrees below average. Meanwhile, Borrego Springs will be in the low 90s typically for this time of the year. They should be soaring closer to that 100-degree mark. So consider ourselves lucky for enduring some of these cooler conditions, especially in comparison to the heat that we experienced over the past couple of weeks, in addition to some of that monsoonal flow. So this area of low pressure will continue to enhance onshore flow, bringing in those winds out of the west, strengthening, especially for the county's eastern half. It will also usher in some cooler temperatures all the way through the weekend. All right, speaking of the rain, I'm going to fast forward this model here. This is our European model. Notice what happens when I fast forward to this evening into tomorrow morning. We see the chance for some isolated showers, mainly blanketing the county's eastern half. But notice what happens tomorrow evening. That rain becomes a little more widespread, heavy at times, and we do have the potential of seeing a pop-up thunderstorm here or there when it comes to the mountains and desert areas. It looks like a lot of that moisture will continue to linger into the mountains and desert areas on Sunday afternoon. Meanwhile, we're drying out for most areas by the time we get to Monday. All right, as we take a look at the rainfall estimates, they are going to be fairly light. In fact, we could see zero accumulation for our most populated neighborhoods, stretching from the coast all the way towards the inland valleys. Meanwhile, we could get maybe less than a few hundredths of an inch for the mountains and desert neighborhoods, but this could change, especially if we do see a pop-up thunderstorm or two. That could lead to heavy downpours, along with a threat for flash flooding, as well as downbursts of very strong winds. So day by day, chance of rain. Here's what it looks like for the mountain areas. Very slim this afternoon, but notice how it really starts to soar as we approach the weekend. Specifically Saturday, that's looking like the most active day of the next several, and then conditions start to simmer down once we look ahead to next week. We're also looking at pretty high winds. They will continue to target the eastern slopes of the mountains and desert areas overnight. Areas like Palomar Mountain, Julian recorded some pretty high winds, anywhere between 30-40 miles per hour or so, and we can continue to see those isolated strong winds at times as that onshore flow continues to strengthen. Here's a quick look at what you can expect for tomorrow's highs across our microclimates. We'll be seeing mostly 70s from the coast all the way towards the inland valleys. We stay fairly nice, comfortable, especially because it's much drier in comparison to that tropical moisture, that surge of it that we were experiencing this same time last week. We're finally going to have some relief. The mountain and desert areas, we're talking about mid to high 60s all the way through Sunday, climbing a few degrees into the low 70s by the time we get to Monday, mid 70s by Tuesday, and we are looking at some gradual warming towards the latter part of next week.
Stay with us because after the break, we're headed to the PNW. Welcome back to Weather Out West. I'm Ashley Ruiz. It's going to be a pleasant weekend overall as the Seattle Mariners take on the LA Dodgers, except for maybe a couple of sprinkles. But widespread rain returns to western Washington late Sunday and early next week. Rich Marriott has the details from Seattle.
I'm King 5 meteorologist Rich Marriott, and we've made it to Friday. That's the good news right there. We've also starting to see a little bit of a change in our weather. It felt a bit like fall yesterday. Temperatures cooled down 8 to 10 degrees from where they were on Wednesday, and there's a little bit of, you almost needed a jacket yesterday after, or at least a sweatshirt. And we're going to warm back up a little bit, but we are going to get into more of a fall pattern by the end of the weekend. We're being brushed by very weak systems moving over the top of a bridge of high pressure. And one passed by this morning, gave us a few showers up towards Whatcom and Skagit counties, but that's kind of moved away at this point. As you can see, no sign of it right now, and we're going to be looking for skies to clear up there in the northern counties. We'll head towards just a little bit later on this morning, and should turn into a pretty nice fall day up and down the sound as we head into our first weekend of fall. Still a little gray there in Everett, but you can see more sunshine as you drop southward, and you can kind of through the clouds, you can see there's a little cap cloud on top of Mount Rainier, which means there's a storm nearby, and they just happen to be moving through British Columbia right now. Looking out there along the coast, I've been seeing some occasional sunshine there as well, so pretty nice day developing. We are going to see another system pass by later on tonight. That might actually give a few showers to the north coast by the time we head towards later this afternoon. Looking out at our air quality, that's probably the best news after the air quality problems we had earlier in the week. Good air quality essentially up and down that I-5 corridor for right now, and it looks like it's going to be staying that way for the next couple of days at least. That 7-day first alert forecast shows that kind of change in our weather. We're brushed by a couple of systems today, and as we head towards tomorrow morning. But the thing that's changing is we've got the warmer temperatures. We're going to be cooling off. Looks like rain is going to be moving in later on Sunday, and for the first time in a long time, it looks like we're going to be in a wet pattern for at least the first half of next week. Checking the satellite image, you can see what I'm talking about. Pretty good looking system up here, but most of it is going north of us. A little weak warm front passed by early this morning. That's what gave us those showers north. Getting a little bit of a break during the day today, and then this cold front is going to brush by to the north of us as we head towards later this evening. Could spread some showers or sprinkles as we head past about 8 o'clock tonight, and then some of those may make it down as far as Seattle late tonight or early tomorrow. If you're going to the Mariner game, it'll be after that, it looks like, so it shouldn't impact anything. Once that moves through, high pressure is going to move in as we head into Saturday, giving us sunshine and actually some mild temperatures for a day or two before we start to see a stronger system move directly into us as we head towards later Sunday, and then a series of those kind of march through here through at least the first half of the week. Looking at the Mariner forecast, if you are headed out to T-Mobile Park, beautiful evening for baseball for sure. Temperatures right around 70 degrees for that first pitch at 6:40. And it looks like partly cloudy skies during the game, cooling to the low 60s by the end of the game. And if you're headed out to the Husky game tomorrow, that 12:30 start, if you're tailgating, temperatures probably in the upper 50s and low 60s in the late morning, but should be pushing up at kickoff to near the mid 60s. And by the end of the game, you're going to be in the low to mid 70s. So really nice afternoon for football. And in terms of the smoke, you can see we put the smoke model in motion. Not much here in western Washington, but east of the Cascades, those fires still really active over there and seeing quite a bit of smoke. As a result of that, we still have an air quality alert out for several of the counties. Chelan, Douglas, and Okanagan counties all have that until further notice. Overall, though, here on the west side, air quality not a problem. In fact, today, sunshine breaks out. We'll look for those few showers moving in later on tonight, mainly north of Seattle. Highs getting into the mid to upper 60s today. Tomorrow, a few early morning showers and clearing out to sunshine and mild, low to mid 70s in the afternoon. We get up to around 70 degrees on Sunday. Then the rain moves in Sunday night. It looks like that turns to showers Monday. Look for rain off and on as we head into at least the first half of next week. Temperatures a little below normal in the mid 60s.
Rain will make a comeback to Portland, Oregon as well, but more so on Monday. Here's Rod Hill with your weekend forecast.
What a great and yes, easy week to be a weather forecaster in Portland. Here it is Friday. We're wrapping up what we expected. Just a glorious week of weather. We have sunshine from our coast all the way to the Idaho border. We're going to have more sunshine tomorrow. We've got pleasant September temperatures. Now, we're still expecting a drastic pattern shift to take hold Sunday night into Monday. So when folks get up to go to work Monday morning, totally different world. It's all developing coming up from our northwest. And I want to go ahead and jump to that. So here's our Futurecast movie. This is meant to be a weather movie of what to expect this weekend until it starts to change Sunday night. So this is 5 o'clock this afternoon. So not seeing anything, right? Just sunny skies, gorgeous weather. My goodness. Mainly 70s inland today. There's a little ribbon of some passing cloudiness tomorrow. We had that yesterday late day, but overall, Saturday still sunny, including at the coast. Now Sunday, different story. Probably clouds right from the get-go on Sunday for the beach. And then we will, assuming we start partly cloudy Sunday morning, we'll cloud up during the day. But the valley will stay dry. Now, this does bring rain in, the first band of rain, in fact, Sunday evening to the coast. This may be a little too fast, but we will see rain, I think, overnight into Monday morning here in the Willamette Valley and up and down I-5. Now, what about the latest rain projections? This is Sunday evening, and it shows the manageable rainfall at the coast, and then a 2-day rain amount for Monday and Tuesday, which is what I've been showing this week. So Monday, Tuesday, manageable rainfall all the way out through Baker City, over an inch at the coast, a quarter to maybe a half of an inch of rain in the valley, and then we'll add to these rain totals a little bit Wednesday, and we'll add to these rain totals on Thursday. So you come up with a 4-day amount that could exceed 2 inches at the beach, could get a half of an inch or more up and down the valley, with some areas breaking an inch. This shows Portland 82/100s down in Corvallis 1.31, and some decent amounts out across eastern Oregon. And by the way, we have not gone more than back-to-back days of measurable rainfall since May. There was a stretch of 6 days in a row in mid-May that had measurable rainfall. So if we can do it 4 days in a row, again, this will be the first kind of extended period of rainy weather since mid-May. And that's just a sign that that was wrapping up the rainy season. Now we're beginning the rainy season, right? Some cameras, they're all just a pleasure to look at. Our Chinook Winds Casino Resort in Lincoln City, just beautiful sunshine. There's Mount Hood, beautiful clear sky, my goodness. I want to point out the Oregon Veterans Home camera in the Dalles. There's the Columbia River, light winds. We had red flag warnings for high fire danger yesterday for parts of the Columbia River Gorge out toward Pendleton and the Columbia Basin up into Washington. All of those red flag warnings for fire danger have expired. The winds will be much lighter today, so that's good news. Again, there's Salem. There's our Vancouver, the Springs of the waterfront, looking at the Columbia River, and there's downtown Portland. Okay, had fun showing you the cameras. We have temperatures in the 70s today. Corvallis 77, Salem 75. Similar numbers up into southwest Washington. 75 degrees in Longview. Sunny, pleasant day. Just fabulous late September weather. Northwest winds 5 to 15 miles per hour. Again, the 60s at the coast, but inland areas generally 70. A few spots could make it to 80. This shows at 5 o'clock the Dow 78, could get up to 80 out there in Wasco County in the East Gorge. And here's our 7-day. So again, no change today. Sunny, fabulous. Tomorrow, no change. Sunny, fabulous, 78. Sunday stays dry, but we cloud over, 74. Then we wake up to some wet streets on Monday morning, and then we have rain at times on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We think there could be times next week where the snow level would be sticking below 6,000 feet. That means we could get some light snow sticking at Timberline Lodge, and that's our forecast here in the Rose City.
Thanks, Ron. Coming up after the break, we're going to stay in the Northwest, but we'll get forecasts from Spokane and Boise. And later, there are more than 100,000 car and truck tires in Washington's Puget Sound, and the state put them there. Later on, we'll look into why and what's being done to fix it. Welcome back and a happy Friday. It's going to be sunny and pleasant in Boise over the weekend, but the weather pattern turns pretty active next week. Here's Tyson White with everything you need to know.
Hi there, I'm Tyson White from KTVB out here in Boise, and we're taking a look at our weather almanac for today because we are right on par for average this time of year, and that was thanks to a cool front that pushed through overnight, bringing us a little bit cooler temperatures for daytime highs today, also bringing some blustery winds. We're nowhere near that record of 93 back in 63, also nowhere near that record of 28 for a low back in 1934 either. We will see some temperatures pretty low in the days coming, but looking at what we saw yesterday for daytime highs, we were quite pleasant across the Treasure Valley. Mid-80s for many locations. The warm spot there, 90 degrees, Mountain Home, quite warm there for those guys. Mountain locations also quite comfortable in the upper 70s for many locations, upper 70s, 60s, excuse me, upper 80s that is for the Magic Valley locations yesterday. We'll see some nice conditions throughout the day today. A little bit cooler in many places. We're at like Redfish Lake there. Same thing for Boise here, cooler, plenty of sunshine, a little bit of smoky, hazy skies out there in some places. And for once this week, we're not seeing the fog there along the Valley County area here, Smiths Ferry. Really nice conditions for the most part here. Nice conditions in McCall too as we put the time lapse into play for May Marina here. Looking really nice. Nice morning start off there. Great morning to go have coffee on the dock and enjoy some of the scenic views there at Lake Payette this morning. So we take a look at what we can expect and what's coming this weekend. So we'll be brief and breezy today as well as cooler today thanks to that low pressure system. Warmer over the weekend. Saturday and Sunday could see highs in the mid 80s. And then we will just shop that right off and start right from fall on Monday with cooler conditions and showery conditions as well. We'll talk about that as we push things into motion here. Here's that high pressure we've been talking about this week. It's been bringing us those warm temperatures from the south, also funneling up some monsoonal moisture yesterday afternoon out in the Twin Falls and the Magic Valley areas. That's that low pressure cool front that pushed through this morning overnight that's bringing us those cooler temperatures, breezier conditions. Here's our big weather maker out here coming later this weekend into next week, this low pressure system. We'll talk about that as we push Futurecast into motion here. Mild today, a little bit cooler than normal that we've seen. Warmer tomorrow, 80 degrees for Saturday. We see things rebound once again for Sunday with temperatures in the mid 80s. But here comes that looming cold front here off the coast of Washington and Oregon. That's going to bring in some showers, specifically around the commute times, both morning and evening Monday. We're going to see heavy downpours at some times too. Temperatures much cooler as well. But as we push this into Tuesday and Wednesday, we see a bulk of that rain pushing in. We could see rain up to 3/4 of an inch in some valley locations, up to an inch or an inch and a half in some mountain locations too. So we're going to have to keep an eye on those rain total falls out there, especially with some of the fire burn scars that we've seen in the area over the summer. Here's those storm chances. We'll see a greater chance going from Sunday night into Monday morning, up to about 60% chance, up to 70% chance Tuesday. And then we kind of diminish it a little bit, still a weak chance there Wednesday, even possibly into Thursday morning out there too. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as we look forward. Treasure Valley though, for today, nice pleasant day, plenty of sunshine out there, up to about 75 degrees, mid 70s from many locations out there, cooling slightly into the evening hours. Magic Valley looking like the same situation here, low 70s for daytime highs. Lots of sunshine, some blustery conditions out there in the western portion of the Magic Valley. Then taking a look at the Magic Valley area out there as well. 73 degrees for Shoshone, 72 out there in Gooding. Nice day for most out there. Central Mountain locations looking decent here too. 71 for Stanley. They got a little ways to warm up because they were down in the mid 20s this morning for overnight lows. Quite cool there. Long Valley here looking at some partly hazy skies as we go through the day. McCall looking at 67. Riggins, the warm spot there, at 77. Western edge of the Treasure Valley looking pretty decent here too. Maybe some haze out in Weiser and Ontario, mid 70s here. Same thing for the Boise area. Clear, sunny skies for the most part here, 75 degrees. 7-day forecast showing those warm conditions the next 3 days, but then that change moves in. First alert weather days on tap for Monday and Tuesday. That's because of the amount of rain, the frequency of the rain, and those cooler temperatures out there.
It's been a pretty rough week for our friends in central and eastern Washington with the high wildfire risk and very bad air quality, but conditions will continue to gradually improve. Thomas Patrick has those details from Spokane.
I'm meteorologist Thomas Patrick in Spokane, Washington. Another beautiful blue sky day as we take you out to Silver Mountain in North Idaho to start this particular weathercast here. But I'll tell you what, it's nice to see the blue skies after getting a bit of smoke from last night. That was one of the biggest issues that we had from the storm system that just passed through the Pacific Northwest. It was a little breezy. It got a little cool this morning, but we had a bout of unhealthy air quality due to wildfire smoke that just passed over Spokane at about 8 p.m. last night. So we do have to keep that in mind for today and for the weekend days as well, because now that the winds have shifted directions compared to some previous days this week, that would be the biggest issue, really, if anything at all, because despite it being cooler, it is still going to be pleasant. So here's just the latest view, just kind of overview for the Pacific Northwest. Cold front having cleared well through the region here and has left skies all clear. This is all just some very light cirrus cloud cover overhead, and it's almost completely sunny as it stands heading into this Friday. So let's set the stage here. The largest and active fires over the Cascades are these three fires: the Lower Sugarloaf, Labor Mountain, and Wildcat fires. These air quality alerts for Okanagan, Douglas, and Chelan counties have been in effect for several days here just because of the proximity to these fires, really from all this week and from previous weeks as well. But now that the winds are westerly, any smoke from those fires would be blowing closer towards Spokane and really eastern Washington. But like yesterday, we probably only see small but sharp dips in air quality for about an hour or two before it then recovers as we go through these day-night cycles. This is what it's been looking like through the morning hours. That's a lot of green on the map. A lot of the air quality reports have been good for eastern Washington. But those fires, they're still active and they're still present. So when they start to refire up in the heat of the day, they're going to pour out more smoke and more haze, and that would be that next plume and next batch of poor air quality for eastern Washington. So we'll take you to our smoke modeling. This is 8 p.m. tonight, and as those fires become more active during the afternoon hours, the smoke will start to become more widespread through central Washington at first. So areas not only like Wenatchee, which are immediately downwind, but I'm looking at Moses Lake especially being a spot that could get some particularly bad air quality in that little purple shade that you see here. That would plume over Spokane, but probably not until after midnight tonight. And that lingers through Saturday morning. And this is the biggest difference between this Friday morning and then tomorrow morning's forecast. So we could start the day hazy and smoky outside. So we'll be monitoring the air quality very closely at an hour-by-hour pace here. Realistically, if you live in eastern Washington, you probably want to keep your windows closed tonight because you don't want to fall asleep and then realize that it's going to smell smoky by the time you wake up in the morning hours. So windows closed, air purifiers on, and that should keep things a bit more comfortable just inside the home at night. Finally, our temperatures, though, have cooled off. 69 the forecast in Spokane today and 71 in Coeur d'Alene, so we'll call that about 70 degrees. Finally feeling like fall. That's an average fall day, but the weekend will be warmer overall, from 77 on Saturday to 81 degrees on Sunday. Again, maybe a bit of smoke or haze in the air for Saturday morning, and then to be determined for the rest of this weekend. But if you want to take a look at next week, not only will those temperatures cool off, but rain chances are in play. Not too many details on that just yet, but of those rain chances, Tuesday and Tuesday night does look like the best chance for rain around Spokane and eastern Washington. So fingers crossed that that will be that fall weather system we're looking for.
Fingers crossed indeed. Coming up after a quick break, we'll check in with meteorologist Kristen Walla to see what's happening in the world of weather across the nation. Cooler temperatures, heavy rain, and the tropics. Kristen Walla is covering it all in today's national forecast.
Hey there, y'all. I'm Tegna Weather Impact meteorologist Kristen Walla. Here's a look ahead into the next week. The first day of fall was earlier this week, and it's starting to look like it across parts of the country, especially into the Rockies and up towards the northern part of the country. It's also starting to feel like fall across the country as well, especially in places like Seattle. Temperatures starting in the 50s and getting into the 60s in the afternoon. Absolutely gorgeous weather. Now down towards Phoenix, temperatures a little bit hotter in the lower 90s, so a little bit below where they should be for this time of year, but there is a rain and storm chance, a marginal 1 out of 5 risk for severe weather. So make sure you're keeping tabs on that throughout the day. Into the Lone Star State, lots of sunshine expected across Texas, high temperatures in the upper 80s to lower 90s, courtesy of a front that came through. So yes, still hot, but at least a lot less humid. Now that front is making its way over to the southeastern United States and bringing those rain chances with it. Temperatures a little bit cooler under those clouds and rain. Now temperatures are also cooler up towards the northeast where that front has also cleared, and expect a little bit more sunshine behind the front, and ahead of the front expect a little bit more cloud cover as well. So here goes that front over towards the southeast, and you'll notice a lot of high pressure situated over the central part of the country. Another high pressure also building in over southern Texas as we head throughout the next several days. Now where exactly that sets up will dictate if any rain chances exist for South Texas over the next couple of days and into early next week. But the main focus in terms of rain chances, it's going to be out towards the east, the courtesy of that front, which is expected to stall over the eastern United States. Not only that, there's also some tropics going on. So lots of rainfall expected over the Carolinas and into Virginia, possibly even into parts of Georgia, but the center of the country expected to stay pretty dry. Now in terms of the tropics, we have 2 named storms at this point, post-tropical Gabrielle. So that has lost some of its tropical characteristics. It's in training or ingesting dry air and starting to interact with fronts. So it's post-tropical, but what we're going to be watching really closely is Umberto and Invest 94L. So not a named system as of this, and heading into the next several days, you can see the curvature of Umberto. That's because it's going to become a major hurricane, a Category 3 or stronger. Those are very organized, and they're steered by upper level wind patterns, much like this high pressure right here. So you can see the curvature of it. However, these 2 storms could possibly interact interact with each other, where they go, how fast forward they move, anything like that. So it's going to be something very closely to watch, especially for the southeastern United States here over the next several days. With that, I am meteorologist Kristen Walla for Tegna Weather Impact.
When we come back, it was a project to protect Washington's Puget Sound ecosystem, but the state found out decades later it failed. Now Washington is working to clean it up, and it's going to cost millions of dollars. Welcome back on this Friday to Weather Out West. So we mentioned before the break that Washington State is in the middle of their massive project to pull more than 100,000 tires, yes, you heard that correctly, out of Puget Sound. The Department of Natural Resources put there in the first place. It was meant to help fish, but the project ended up hurting them. Seattle's Farah Jadran has much more.
When Jessica Alexanderson started scuba diving, her heart was set on finding beautiful marine life in Puget Sound. What she discovered was shocking.
It's just absolutely terrible. When I first started diving in 2014, I was like, what? Every single dive site I've ever been to has tires.
She's right. There are thousands of sunken tires at just about every popular dive site. Some have been there since the 1960s when the State Department of Natural Resources put them there. Along with other groups, thousands of tires were strung together in various shapes to mimic reef structures. But why?
They were targeting rockfish and they were targeting lingcod because there was kind of a dip in their population at the time that these tires were installed. So they were intended to like boost these fish for recreational fishing purposes.
But researchers say there was no boost. DNR follow-up surveys to most areas showed the tire plan fell flat, and any potential harm to the health of the sound was already in motion.
I understand they're not like decomposing.
Public Lands Commissioner Dave Upthegrove says concerns went beyond the tires themselves.
When the ropes that tied them together dissolve, and they can end up spreading out and actually damaging habitat and damaging wildlife instead of enhancing it over time.
Nearly 60 years later, new legislative funding is jump-starting work to finally get those tires out. In just one area, DNR removed about 2,500 tires by Tolmie State Park near the mouth of the Nisqually River. Commissioner Upthegrove says removing all the tires will likely cost more than $7 million. Putting tires in Puget Sound may simply not make sense to the average Washingtonian.
So it doesn't surprise me. At the time, it seemed like a good idea based on what they knew then. And now we're doing the best thing we can for salmon and orca and habitat based on what we know now.
They're chiselers with their teeth. And so if they're chiseling on the tire, that's going to be releasing small amounts of rubbers and all the chemicals that are in it. You know, there's things breaking down over time, but then there's also animals that can break it down faster, and the urchins are actually one of those.
Marine biologist educators at places like Highline College's Mass Center Aquarium on Redondo Beach in Des Moines are relieved to see the decades-old tire plan reversed.
Every step is a positive step. The health of the Puget Sound, the health of our environment affects us. One of the reasons climate change is worse is because the environment is less healthy.
Back to the surface with Jessica Alexanderson and her dive buddy Eric Axelrod. They've found life thriving where past failed experiments have been corrected.
Unfortunately, there was a bunch of tires actually near where the octopus den was built, and we actually helped remove some of those tires. And right after we removed the tires is when she moved in. But the den is made out of rock structure.
As hundreds of the giant Pacific octopus eggs continue to hatch, lovers of our Pacific Northwest waters are reminded.
Here it goes.
Okay.
Consequences of the past run deep.
Most of the tires in Puget Sound look like this one, but there are a variety of sizes, including semi-truck tires. While many of these tires are starting to come out of Puget Sound, the DNR team tells me there's a major issue it's going to have to deal with. It's not really known exactly how many tires are in the Sound. That's because groups outside of DNR sunk tires of their own in areas not within state-owned aquatic lands. DNR believes there are about 100,000 tires in Puget Sound, but they estimate there's at least 30% more than that. That number could change as tire removals continue. King 5 will keep you updated. At Redondo Beach, for Environment Northwest, I'm Farah Jadron.
And Farah Jadron and King 5 are following up on the progress on removing those tires from Puget Sound later this fall. We want to thank you so much for joining us on today's Weather Out West as we head into the weekend with so many changes up ahead. And next week on Monday, you can join us once again for our next Weather Out West. And by then, we'll be talking more rain. I hope you have a fabulous weekend, and we'll see you Monday.